Welcome to the Called and Courageous Christian Woman, the podcast where we have meaningful conversation rooted in truth as told by Scripture and learn actionable steps to pursue a peace-filled, purpose-driven, unapologetically courageous life. I'm Britton George, and each week I'll be bringing you powerful conversations, inspiring stories, and biblical wisdom to help you embrace your divine purpose, stand boldly in your faith, and live a kingdom-building life that reflects the courage and strength God has instilled in you. If you're ready to be empowered, uplifted, and encouraged as you pursue the life you were created for, then you're in the right place. Let's dive in, friend. Hello, beautiful, courageous, called women of God. I am so excited you are here again with me today. If you've made it this far, you must like me a little bit. I definitely like you a lot. Thank you so much for joining me again today. I hope these episodes have been a blessing to you and continue to be a blessing to you. I love pouring into you in each and every episode. And today is no different. I'm super excited for today's topic because we're diving into something that can literally and absolutely change the way that you show up in this world. Okay, we are still on our surrender series. We are still being naked and unafraid, being real with ourselves. I do have some activities for you today, again with reflection. Same drill as last time. Grab a pen and paper if you're able. If you're driving, you can always listen, take mental notes, and come back to this later. But I do have some things that I want you to write down because I don't want you to just get super stoked during this episode and we're all hyped up and we're ready to make changes, and then the episode ends and we kind of go on with our day, and then it's very easy to kind of forget this amazing episode that Britton poured into us because life is busy and chaotic and you're no longer in that moment. Okay? So I am calling you out because if you're anything like me, we can get all up in our feelings in the moment, but then when it comes time to actually take action, we get distracted by the 74 other things we have on our list for that day. All right, ladies, let's do some work. So again, this topic that can absolutely change the way you show up in this world. It is quite literally life-changing. And what we are talking about is your identity in Christ. Now, I know last time we talked about the labels we attach to ourselves, right? So those self-critical thoughts that cross our mind and turn into labels, which then feed into our identity, and what those labels are compared to the ones God gives us. Today, we're taking that a step further and asking what happens when those labels become part of our identity. Remember, we talked about the power of words and how what we say and what we think actually turns into what we feel and who we are. So are we walking in the truth of who God says we are, or are we stuck in the false identities that keep us small, scared, and stagnant? We talked about this, right? So those labels, our thoughts and our words become how we actually feel, and they become ingrained in how we identify ourselves. On top of that, not only do we have our self-critical labels, there's also the ones that others put on us, which can be brutal. They can leave us feeling unworthy, incapable, and afraid to step into what God has planned for us. What will this person think? Or Joe in the break room might think that I'm crazy, or this is crazy, or Britton doesn't know what she's talking about, or Britton could never do that. Or maybe we're just scared to walk in our true identity because what will my husband think? What will my family think? Can I actually do this? And is everyone else going to doubt me? But here's the good news. God alone defines you. Not Joe in the faculty room, not Galinda the good witch down the street. God defines you. And when we truly embrace that, when we let God's words shape our identity, we can live and walk in a boldness we never thought possible. So I want to take a look at one of the most important stories in the Bible today, and one of the most pure and perfect examples of accepting God's calling, even when it feels so impossible. walking into an identity God says about you, or God tells you, or God calls you into, even when it feels impossible. We're going to take a look at a young girl in the Bible, Mary. Now, I know you know her story, but I really want you to think about the story of Mary. Okay, so this archangel comes down, and she is 14 years old. She is unmarried, and an angel shows up and says, "Greetings, favored woman." In this moment, he tells a 14-year-old, unwed, I mean, you could say woman, but really still a child, that she is going to become divinely pregnant and carry the Son of God. Now, Mary does have a moment where she says, "How can this be? I'm 14. I'm unmarried. I'm a virgin. I'm too young. I'm not worthy enough to carry the Son of God. I'm just a girl from Nazareth. Who am I to carry the Son of God?" But God has called her highly favored. Now, I don't know about you. I don't think I would feel so highly favored in that moment. I think I would be petrified and scared and confused and probably doubting that this even happened to me in the first place, and in like a severe case of denial. But instead, Mary believes what God said about her. She accepted her calling, despite how impossible or overwhelming it seemed. She didn't let fear keep her stagnant, and she didn't hide from it. She didn't let her own doubt define what God was going to do with her life. She stepped forward boldly. You guys, boldly. What would her family think? What would her religious leaders think? Mary lived in a time where she could have been shamed, ridiculed, and even severely punished or possibly killed. She could have been left by Joseph. She could have lost everything, including her life. But she believed God. She showed up with the most intense faith under the most culturally dire circumstance. How often do we get an opportunity to even show a fourth of that faith? I mean, I know I haven't, and I don't know that I would want that calling. But if I was given something like that, I would have to figure out how to walk forward boldly as Mary did. She's an amazing example of this. So when we look at the Bible, how often do we hear God calling us worthy, loved, chosen, victorious, empowered, but instead we still cling to these labels of not enough, too broken, too small, and too unqualified, which then become our identifiers or self-identifiers. My identity is that I'm broken. My identity is that I'm not enough. My identity is that I'm too small, I'm too unqualified. If someone asked you, like, "Hey, who are you? What are you about?" Are those the adjectives you would want to use to describe who you are? I don't think so. So why do we internalize those as our internal identity, even if we maybe wouldn't say it out loud to most people? If we don't know what God said about us, we'll live by what others have said. Okay? That time you were growing up and your dad made a comment and it stuck with you, and you have carried that into adulthood. That time your teacher made you feel stupid and you never got over it. That time your coach made you feel incapable and you took that on, and that was your identity, okay? But what the world says about us, what people can say about us, even unintentionally, it's not kind. The world is not kind with its words. But the truth is, God speaks over your life, and what he says is good, it is kind, and it is for your good. Let's kind of transition here and talk about another way we keep ourselves small, and that is waiting until we're ready. Here's some more lies that we tell to ourselves. Have you ever stalled on something God put on your heart because you thought, "Oh, I'm not ready yet"? God put it on your heart. He has already told you, "This is what you're going to do. This is what I want you to do. I will equip you to do this." But your response is, "I'm not ready yet." Do you think you know better than God? I'm getting real with you on today's episode, ladies. Do you know better than God? Do you know more than God, the all-knowing? You're not ready yet? Do you think God is calling you into something that he feels you're not capable of? That you're not ready for? How often have you procrastinated, doubted, or convinced yourself that you needed to be more perfect before moving forward, as if you know better than God? How many times have you thought, "I'll step into this when I feel more confident. I just need some more time. Oh, I just need training. I just need a little bit more preparation. I can't start until I have it all figured out. This has got to be perfect before I launch the thing, do the thing, write the thing, make the career change." Does this sound familiar to you? I know it does to me. But here's the thing. You will never feel 100% ready. You just won't. That's not real. That's a lie. Again, that's the enemy keeping you stuck. You're not good enough. You're not ready yet. Lies. If Mary had waited until she felt prepared to be the mother of Jesus, she would have never stepped into her calling. And if you keep waiting for perfect conditions, you will never step into yours either. Self-doubt keeps our dreams small. It convinces us that we need to have all the answers before we begin. But again, I will keep preaching this. God doesn't call the qualified. He qualifies the called. When you walk where God is leading, your identity begins to shift. And you don't need to know where it's leading, right? Like, you might get a nudge, you might get a path laid out in front of you, you might have an open door. You don't know the end result of that, which again is often much bigger and more than we could ever hope, dream, or imagine. But your job is to take action and just take the first step. God will lay out the steps for you. So when you follow where God is leading, regardless of if you know the end destination, your identity begins to shift. You start seeing yourself the way He sees you, because through each step, when you find success or you find a new open door or a new opportunity, your identity shifts, your faith grows, and you see God's work in your life. You see yourself the way He sees you, bold. We're moving forward in bold faith, equipped. God has given you the tools and the knowledge and the courage to do it, and chosen. You're walking in that calling that God has chosen for you. I want you to think if there's been a time that you've finally moved forward after doubting for so long. What happened? I would be willing to bet if you've gotten to that point, it was bigger and better than you imagined. God doesn't just meet you where you are, He takes you further than you ever thought possible. I'm a walking, talking example of this right now. I started out a 19-year-old unwed mother, married and divorced with 2 kids by the time I was 24, growing up in North Dakota in the same town I had always lived in, to now, like, my first bold step was to move to a new state, and then I worked through all my degrees, often as a single mom in the beginning when I was working on those degrees, and then through pregnancies, continuing to work on those degrees, and I went from being a teacher to a school psychologist, and now God opened this whole new door, and I'm like, well, I just got my degree. I just fulfilled this dream, and now you're taking me on this whole new course that's not at all related to what I'm doing now. But okay, God, you told me to write the book. I'm going to write the book. I don't know what the book is going to be. I don't know what it's going to be all about. I don't know who I'm going to be speaking to, but I'm just going to start writing that book. And guess what? I figured out who I was speaking to, and I figured out what it was meant to be. And then do you know what happened? I wrote the book, and then God said, now you're going to take this book and you're going to start speaking on it. And you're going to do a podcast, and you're going to start coaching, and you're going to start doing women's retreats. And I'm still working on all of those things, but it's just been one door after another, just because I took that first step and wrote a book that had nothing to do with any of my training, any of my education, anything I had been formally schooled or trained in, but God equipped me to do it. And now I'm walking in that right now as we speak. And that is why I am coming through your speaker. God told me to write a book, I did it, and now here I am, driving down the road with you, doing your laundry with you, whatever we might be doing at this time. So what are you holding back from today? What's keeping you from moving forward? If you're waiting for a sign, hello, it's me. This is it. I have your sign. God is saying to you through my mouth, through your speaker, go. Step into it. Trust Him. I want you to really think about this. What have you been procrastinating? This is where we're going to pull out our pens and notebook, ladies. What have you been procrastinating on? What nudges have you been getting that you've been saying no to that God could turn into a big fat yes? Today's exercise, we're going to write that down. Here's where we're breaking out our pen and our phone app. I want you to then sit. You're going to pause me. You're going to sit and pray and really dive deep to name the emotion that is keeping you from moving forward. Move beyond that. I don't have time. I'm too busy. It's not right for me. What is that emotion? Is it doubt? Is it fear? And then dig even deeper to that. Fear of failure? Fear of not being equipped? Fear of not knowing what it's going to look like? Like, really dig in and get to the core of that emotion that's holding you back. My dad said this to me when I was 10 years old, and I felt stupid and unable ever since. How am I going to write a book? How am I going to get on a stage and speak? How am I going to run a marathon? I've never been athletic in my whole life. How am I going to get physically fit? How am I going to do this ministry work or whatever it is? What is the emotion that is keeping you stagnant? What are the lies you are telling yourself? Okay, so you're going to find the emotion. Then I want you to write one goal, and we're going to specify what a good goal looks like. You're not just going to write, I'm going to write a book. I'm going to lose weight. I'm going to spend more time with my kids. I'm going to work on my relationship with my husband. Whatever it is, that's not specific enough, okay? So when we look at goals, the acronym I really like to use, and you may have heard it, is a SMART goal. Okay, so if we want to actually achieve goals, they need to be specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. We can't just say, I'm going to lose weight. I'm going to work on this relationship. I'm going to write a book. Those are too big. You need to hone it down and make some very specific, measurable things that you can accomplish that are achievable and within a certain time frame. So you can take that big goal you might have and break it down into just the first piece. Remember, we just have to take the first step. So specifically, what do you want to do? Okay, I want to lose weight. Okay, so let's make that measurable. We're making it more specific. I want to get healthy by walking 3 days a week. Okay, that's achievable. We're not saying I want to lose 40 pounds in the next 3 weeks. Not achievable. Okay, I want to get more healthy by walking 3 times per week. That's specific, measurable, achievable, relevant. If you want to lose weight, this is a relevant piece to that. It's something small and actionable that you can do that's relevant to your big goal. And it needs to be time bound. So I'm going to do that for the next 4 weeks. Okay? And then by the time you create that habit over the next 4 weeks, then your next goal might be, I'm going to jog 2 days a week and walk 1 day a week. These are short term that are going to lead to your bigger term. Okay, so write that down. SMART. Specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, time-bound. Then pause and do it. Name the feeling, really the core of the feeling, what's keeping you from that goal, and I want you to write one SMART goal to help you achieve that big goal. I'll be right here when you're all done. Okay, ladies, I hope that SMART goal was not too difficult to write. Sometimes this can be a lot of work and we need to refine, but if you need more clarity, I would just encourage you to pray on it and keep working on it. So to kind of wrap up today, on our last episode, we talked about some truths that God tells us about who we are. And, I realized one of my favorites that didn't even make the example list. Maybe it made your personal list, and it was part of our story with Mary today, and it's one of my favorites. You are highly favored, just like Mary. And the beautiful piece about that is it's not because of what you've done, but because of who God is and what He has called you to. It truly has nothing to do with you and everything with Him. It's not because of who you are or who you think you are not. It's about who God is. So here's the challenge. Will you believe God's words over your life? Will you let go of the false labels and step into the identity that He has given you? What are those nudges you've been getting? What is that dream you've put on pause? What is that thing you've maybe always wanted to do but never felt you could do it? Because when you let go of the false labels and step into the identity He has given you, fear has got to go. Stagnation has got to go. Living in less than has got to go. And those are all the things we're here trying to accomplish. We want to be called and courageous and fearless and bold and unapologetic, not fearful, stagnant, and living in less than. The enemy would love nothing more than for you to stay all of those things. He would love nothing more than to see you stay stuck, to keep questioning yourself, to keep believing that you're not good enough. But God's already called you more. He's already called you enough, and He is the truth teller. It doesn't matter what we think. It doesn't matter what the enemy would love to see. It's about what God says. So today I want you to speak these words out loud. Say them after me. I am chosen. I am fearfully and wonderfully made. I am bold and courageous. I am a highly favored called and courageous woman of God. Say them, believe them, walk in them, because when you do, you will step into the abundant life God has for you. Look at that goal you wrote down and go crush it. One actionable, measurable step at a time. And you know what? I want you to take that a step further. Get on my Facebook page. I want to hear from you on Facebook or Instagram. Tag me. My links are below, but tag me. I want to know what your SMART goal is. And then I want to know how it's going for you. Accountability can work so well. Write it down. Tag me in it. I want to hear these goals you're working on. I'm so excited to see how bold you're being, how fearless you're being, and watch you walk in those goals so I can applaud you every single step of the way. When you are working on and crushing this goal like I know you're going to do, I want to remind you that when you hear a self-critical lie creep in, rebuke it immediately and replace it with your truth that you wrote down last time. And then when you tell yourself you're not ready or you can do it later, oh, I'm just really tired. I had a lot going on today. I just want you to take the very first step in defeating that thought. If you're supposed to be working out, just put on your workout clothes. If you're supposed to be writing your book or your blog, find a quiet space to write. Pour yourself a cozy drink. Go get that fuzzy blanket and start writing. If you're supposed to be spending time with God, turn on your worship music. Pull out that devotional. Find a quiet space. Just take that first step, because if you can set yourself up to do it, the next piece is just to do it. I know for me, a lot of times, like if I don't want to do the workout, if I put on my workout clothes and I take my pre-workout, especially if I take my pre-workout, well, now I got to go do it or I'm going to be all jittery. I'm not giving myself a choice anymore at this point. So, friend, just remember, you've got this because God's got you. Again, we dive way deeper into this topic in my book and masterclass. If you haven't purchased that yet, if you haven't signed up for the course yet, what intrusive thoughts, self-criticism, and procrastination are holding you back? Why are you saying no to something that could be so powerful for you? Why are you saying no to community? Why are you saying no to mentorship? Why are you saying no to breaking fully into personal, relational, and spiritual peace? We need community. We need support. And not only do you have this because God's got you, but I've got you too. Get online. Take the next step towards your peace. You can do it. I can't wait to see you there. Click the link. Commit. You've got this. We are breaking chains. We are breaking barriers. We are here to be called and courageous Christian women. Until the next episode, I love you all. God bless. Thank you so much for tuning in to today's episode of the Called and Courageous Christian. I hope you felt poured into, encouraged, and empowered to keep moving courageously forward in your faith and calling. Be sure to stay connected with me on social media for more inspiration and updates. Any events, courses, or links mentioned in today's episode can be found on my social media accounts. And if you've enjoyed today's episode, I'd be so grateful if you'd take a moment to leave a review. Your feedback helps others find this podcast and is the biggest way you can contribute to my mission of reaching women who are searching for a peace-filled, purpose-driven, and unapologetic life. I hope you found this episode to be a blessing for you. Until next time, God bless.